We've been following Carl Froch for over 10 years. From Commonwealth to world champion. From budding guitar player to national hero. I caught up with him at one of his favourite eateries near his home in Carlton on the eve of receiving another honour. Well, Carl, freedom of the city of Nottingham. I'm not actually sure what it means. What does it mean?
I'm not sure actually. I mean, I've joked about being able to take my sheep over Trent Bridge, which might be in the old scriptures, but I'm not 100% sure. What it is an acknowledgement for what I've achieved, and to be acknowledged by my city, by the powers of the city. And I'm up with names like Paul Smith and Brian Clough, Torval and Dean. So to be put in with these people, it's fantastic for me, and to be acknowledged for my achievements, it's a very proud moment for me.
And we were looking back at some of our archive of you. We first filmed with you 10 years ago. How bizarre is it that in a decade you've gone from a guy just trying to win one fight to another to a guy who's famous around the world champion, and being offered the freedom of his city?
People do say to me, what's it feel like to be a celebrity? And I always say, look, I'm not a celebrity, I'm a sports star. And then it's what's it like to be in a position where you are, what you've just said. But it's not happened overnight. It's been such a slow but natural progression. You know, stage by stage I've got to where I've got now, through hard work, dedication, commitment, and a lot of sacrifices as well.
Carl has had some of the biggest fights in boxing over the last 10 years, but it's not Groves or Kessler that stand out as their most defining moments in his career, but the bruising encounter with Jean Pascal in 2008 when he first became world champion.
Because that was my first world title when I was crowned champion of the world. That's a night I'll never forget, and that was in front of my home city as well. And 9,000 people, believe it or not, sounds louder in Nottingham than 80,000 at the National Stadium.
It is a big week for Carl, not just the freedom of Nottingham, but an updated version of his autobiography has just been published. And the page most fans will rush to see is from the biggest fight in post-war history.
I didn't want people to say, oh, you're to my son and my daughter at school, yeah, your dad's good, he's world champion, he's achieved so much, but what about George Groves? And that would have put a dampener on it, and that'd have been a real nasty thing for them to have to, for me to live with, but for them to be brought up with. And that's why I put so much pressure on myself in the rematch. And now when I mention George Groves, I can smile about it and think, you know what, that was a nice right hand that connected on his chin to just end that argument and end that whole saga on the biggest platform possible at the Wembley Stadium. So no, I look back on that fight with Groves and mention his name with a great deal of pride.
But could there be another chapter to write? Well, the news boxing fans have been crying out for, and a hint that something big is about to happen.
Chavez Jr. is the guy, really, and I've had a good chat with my promoter this morning actually, and hopefully we're making ground with that fight, and we may have an announcement soon. I'm happy to never fight again. I've achieved so much. I'm happy to say, you know what, if that right hand I landed on George Groves' chin at the Wembley Stadium, May 31st, 2014, if that's the last right hand I throw in my career, I will retire a happy man. So unless something comes up like fighting Las Vegas, for me, I'll probably be retired. I'll probably just say, you know what, I'll bow out now on the top.
So the one fight that could top Groves seems to be on the cards. Froch, Chavez Jr. But before Vegas,
from Nottingham,
the freedom of Nottingham. Steve Clamp, ITV News.
Chavez, be very afraid. He's a man on a mission, isn't he? Yeah. Now, here's a lovely story about a surprise for a young Staffordshire woman. Ever since her father died from a form of brain cancer in February last year, Holly Addison has been raising awareness and money for the condition. And a quiet drink with her friends took a happier turn when a certain Pharrell Williams turned up.
I think it's about time we went and met Holly.
Holly had been nominated by her friend for a surprise after all her fundraising. And she thought she got it thanks to this flash mob. But that wasn't all, as the man behind the most successful song this year suddenly appeared. Luckily, Holly managed to compose herself for a hug with the music superstar.
She's just running away, isn't she? Now, you can watch the full reveal on the new series of Surprise, Surprise. That's hosted by Holly Willoughby next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. And I always thought it was called Pharrell Williams, but it's Pharrell.
Yeah, Pharrell, yeah. Like we have a Darryl, don't we? And we're going to call him Darrell now.
Yes, that's right, yes. Anyway.
So, now, from Pharrell Williams to Hollywood superstar Harrison Ford, the Star Wars actor has become the latest member of a flying club in Shropshire. He joined last week after personally phoning up for an application.
Well, now the club's made him an honorary lifetime member and is waiting for Indiana Jones to make a flying visit. Andy Bevan reports, and there are flashing images from the start.
Han Solo, pilot of the Millennium Falcon and later captain of the Rebel Alliance, was the perfect role for Harrison Ford. The actor started flying lessons in his early 20s, but Star Wars made him rich enough to buy and fly his own planes. Now back in the UK shooting the latest movies in the series, Ford wanted to bring one of his favourite aircraft over here to fly on his days off. But time ran out, so he called the Shropshire Aero Club, who have an identical one, and asked to rent it.
We did a deal, and I delivered the aircraft on Sunday morning down to his local airfield, North London, and checked him out, and he went off flying very happy.
And did he check out all right?
He's a very good pilot, yes, he checked out very well.
If Han Solo was a hero in the cockpit, then Indiana Jones was something of a hindrance. Harrison Ford's other great character was hardly an aerobatic expert.
I didn't know you could fly a plane. Why, yes. Land, go.
Harrison Ford has been flying since the 1960s. He's a very experienced pilot indeed. He has almost a dozen aircraft of his own, and this type is one of his favourites. And at Slape Aerodrome, where the Shropshire Aero Club has its base, it's lessons as usual, but everyone is hoping for a visit from their newest member.
He filled the forms in, he paid his membership till the end of this year. When I brought the forms back to the office, the management committee said, we'll make him a lifetime honorary member, which of course, he'd expressed an interest in could he be a member for life, so we've granted him lifetime honorary membership.
Harrison Ford is no stranger to Shropshire. In 2004, he and his wife Callista Flockhart took a narrowboat holiday on the Llangollen Canal. If his current filming schedule allows it, he may be back. So keep your eyes on the skies, and you could catch a glimpse of the Hollywood high flyer. Andy Bevan, ITV News.
Well, he's done planes and boats in Shropshire,
Yes.
and he means trade. Well, trains,
Yeah.
he could try the Severn Valley Railway now, couldn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he'll do the M6 somehow as well. It's not really quite as clear, is it? Anyway, Han Solo could be solo in the skies, you never know. He could do with some good weather, couldn't he? And the person who has those details is, of course, Lucy. Here she is with the weather forecast.
Hello again, and firstly thank you very much to Michelle Devi-Carville for this beautiful autumnal picture. I bet these berries have had a bit of a watering over the past couple of hours, and there's more rain to come as well because of low pressure that's dominating our weather. The showers and longer spells of rain circulating around it and moving in our direction. But temperatures are rising too as the air is going to start coming in from the southwest. So from tomorrow onwards, things warming up. As for tonight, temperatures not dropping too low, 8 or 9 degrees Celsius our low, and the rain will continue its journey north and eastwards. We'll be left with 1 or 2 showers, but on the whole, once the rain has cleared, a mostly dry night. Some gaps in the clouds, and with the light winds, we are expecting some mist patches to form. So it could be quite a misty, murky start to the day tomorrow, but we'll certainly see more in the way of bright or sunny spells as we head through the day and the cloud lifts and breaks. Some showers to look out for tomorrow as well. They could appear anywhere, but they'll be fairly well scattered, and temperatures already rising. So tomorrow highs of 16 or 17 degrees Celsius, and they continue creeping up as we head through the rest of the week. And in fact, overnight on Friday into Saturday, it's going to be very warm indeed. We'll keep you posted on that. Bye for now.
That's nearly it from us, but before we go, a quick reminder of tonight's stories on ITV News Central. Pictures have been released of 2 suspected arsonists who've caused a huge health scare and the closure of a school in Tyresley in Birmingham. It's feared the fire they're believed to have started may have spread asbestos dust in the area.
Council and business leaders from Stoke-on-Trent have been in Westminster making the economic case for bringing high-speed rail to the city. Officials hope to reverse the current plans for an out-of-town station near Crewe.
And charity fundraiser Holly Addison from Staffordshire got the surprise of a lifetime when a flash mob featuring Pharrell Williams interrupted a quiet drink with friends.
And that's all we've got time for tonight. As always, more updates on our stories online. Go to itv.com/central for those. The national and international news is coming up next. But from all the team here, especially from Bobby and me, have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The welfare minister's attacked for saying some disabled people aren't worth the minimum wage. Lord Freud apologises and says he's profoundly sorry, but Labour say he should go.
Surely someone holding those views can't possibly stay in his government.
Prime Minister defends his government passionately and personally.
And let me tell you, I don't need lectures from anyone about looking after disabled people, so I don't want to hear any more of that.
Also tonight, unemployment falls sharply, but job creation slowing and wages still lag behind inflation.
Another nurse is diagnosed with Ebola in the United States. She too treated the doctor who died in Texas.
Well, this stunt prompted a punch-up and a denial by the Albanian PM's brother.
This is ITV News at 6:30 with Alistair Stewart and Mary Nightingale.
Good evening. Lord Freud issued a full and unreserved apology tonight, admitting it was foolish and offensive to suggest some disabled people were not worth the minimum wage. But he's resisting calls to resign as welfare minister, despite a rebuke in Parliament from David Cameron.
Lord Freud's comments were recorded at the Conservative Party conference 2 weeks ago. They were exposed in the Commons by Ed Miliband today. He said it showed the nasty party, as he put it, is back. Labour want Lord Freud sacked. Our political correspondent Carl Dinnan has the latest.